guys, it's Pastor Jose again. Hi. I hope you're good, and thank you for watching the videos that I've been posting about my reflections. And today I'll be sharing my reflection from the book of Jonah. And Jonah is a prophetic book among the minor prophets. In the Bible. I don't know which page, so you can go check. But Jonah is one of the minor prophets. And so today I'm talking about God provides. We all need provision in various ways, in one way or another. And today I'll be sharing with you four things, just four things concerning God's provision. And so the first one is God provides for us so that we would accomplish his purpose. And that one I saw in Jonah chapter 1 verse 17, where God provided a great fish which swallowed Jonah. And you're asking yourself, so how does that apply to God's provision and everything? So what it is that God called Jonah, a prophet, to go and prophesy to the city of Nineveh, but Jonah refused. He disobeyed. And so he went into the boat and he was going to another city called Tarshish. And what happened is that, those people, the ship was tossed by the wind and by the waves in the sea. And the people were angry because somebody in the ship was making it to be tossed. So they cast a lot and they found it was Jonah. So they threw him in the sea. And what happened is, God provided a great fish. And we know that story from childhood. But the thing about it is, many of us will say, God was chasing after Jonah. He was trying to hide, but God, captured him so that he would send him where he wanted him to go. But indeed, the first point here is that God provides for us so that we fulfill his promises. The thing I saw here is that God provided this great fish so that it would swallow Jonah and take it to where God wanted him to go, in Nineveh. So God provides for us things in our lives, the cars, the houses, the work, and the monies, and all the things that you have, including people, friends, and family, so that we will fulfill his purposes. So the resources that you have, they are meant to be used for God's purposes. So God provided that great fish so that it will take Jonah to where God wanted him to be. It wasn't just because, Jonah was trying to run away, but he was caught by the fish. No, actually, these people threw him so that he would die because they didn't know the mission for which God had sent Jonah. So what happened is that God provided this resource, this great fish, so that it will take Jonah to where God wanted him to be. That's the point number one. And my question is, the resources that God has given you right now, the ones that you have, are you using them to do God's plans and purposes and to accomplish his will? That's the question for today. And I pray that God will challenge you on this so that you can begin to use the monies, no matter how little no matter how little they are, pesa, even the talents that you have. Those are the resources God has given you so that you can do his plans and his purposes. Now, number two is God provides for us in unexpected ways. Now, I read, that is chapter 1 that I said, God provided a great fish at the end of the chapter 1 verse 17. And then in chapter 2 and chapter 3, Jonah in chapter 2, Jonah is in the belly of the fish, and then chapter 3, Jonah goes to Nineveh and he begins to prophesy and to tell people about what God wanted them to do. And then chapter 4, Jonah goes outside the city and he sits somewhere and waits to see the punishment that God will do in the city. And there he was seated and, God provided for him a plant that was, refreshed him in the midst of the heat. So God provides for us in unexpected ways. Jonah did not expect God to provide for him that plant. Jonah just sat there and he was just waiting from afar to see, angalie tu aone kenye God atafanya kupanisha watu. So sometimes we are expecting God to provide in a way, and sometimes it doesn't come that way. or sometimes we are fixed in our ways on how we expect God to provide. So today, number two is I wanted to let you know that God provides in unexpected ways. And my challenge for you is that would you try to not to fix your mind or your heart into one direction, thinking that that's the way that God is going to provide, and know that God can provide in unexpected ways, even the way you do not expect. Maybe you expect God to provide only through your salary or through your parents or through the job that you have. God can provide in different ways. And you remember in Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20, he says, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than we can ask or even imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. To him be glory in Christ, and in the church through all generation, forever and ever. Amen. Because God is able to do immeasurably more than we can imagine. We need to open our hearts to know that God can provide in ways that we do not even expect. So right now, are you only fixed in one direction, that you're thinking God will provide only this way, in this way? That's the only way God can provide. If you change your mind, you will see God will provide in unexpected ways, and especially in this season of COVID-19 and the hard times that we are in. If you trust God and you open your heart for him to move in your life in any way he can. And number three, God provides for us even when our hopes are gone. Sometimes you try something and it doesn't work and your hopes go. God provides even for us, even when our hopes are gone. When Jonah was there seated in the hill outside there, outside the city, God provided for him a plant, that plant. And when he was there, God also provided a worm that ate the plant, and Jonah was hopeless. He actually asked God that to kill him. He wanted to die. So sometimes when we see things happen the way that we did not expect, our hopes are shaken. So even when your job doesn't produce the right results, or the right profit that you wanted it to produce, your business and what you do, it doesn't bring the cash or the returns that you wanted it to. um, Remember that God provides even when our hopes are gone. So trust him, continue to trust him to provide whatever it is, whether it's school fees, whether it's for rent, whether it's money for your upkeep, or even if it's just food, or whatever it is. Trust him even when your hopes are gone. Continue holding on. So and the last one is the fourth one, which God provides so that he will draw our attention to him. God provides for us so that he will draw our attention towards him. So God provided, while Jonah was still seated there, God provided a worm that ate the plant. And then when Jonah was hopeless and he wanted to die, God provided again, a scorching east wind, and a sun that hit him hard, and he burnt him. And Jonah still did not turn to God. He recognized, yes, that God is full of grace, God is merciful, God is full of love. And I saw that, and I realized, wow, God was doing this thing. He was providing these things to Jonah, so that Jonah would turn his heart towards God. So yeah, and I realized that the things that God provide for us, he wants us not to focus so much on those things, but to focus on him. He wants us to put our eyes on him. The problem is that sometimes we get distracted by the provision and we forget the provider. So today I want to ask you, have you been distracted by the provisions that God has given you, or the things that God has given you, whether the monies, even the time, the friends, the family, everything, the businesses, and all the things that you have? Have you been distracted so much, so much, so much by those things, and you've forgotten the provider who has given you those things? So God provides, and when he provides, he wants our attention to turn to him, not on the things that he has provided for us. So that is it for us, for you for today. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord help you to know that indeed that He provides. And remember those four things that we have learned today.